Good morning, everybody. Get one more thing up here, get some notes up here. There we go. Cool. So, hey, Dylan, great to have you here, brother. Hope all is going well. Good to see you, one of the OGs of the morning call. 6 years now, coming up on starting the seventh year. Are you kidding me? So,
Right back at you. I'm proud of you, brother.
good to see you, brother. And can't wait to hear some of your success stories. So, one of the things I wanted to share today is that we have done the the purpose code, right? And what it is about this idea of what is your purpose? What is the code to activate your purpose? What is the thing that you are doing to take yourself to the next level? And most people are looking for strategies. And I will keep shouting from the rooftops to say that strategy doesn't work if your frequency is off. Strategy doesn't work if your DNA isn't vibrating at the correct level that is your best version of you. So this isn't about hype. This isn't about conversation about getting you motivated, right? Jim Rohn said it best. What happens if you motivate an idiot? You get a motivated idiot, right? So motivation isn't what you're seeking. It's truly when you truly have your core signal activated, when you have your core capacity triggered. You don't need motivation. It comes from within. Motivation is external. Inspiration is from inside, right? So this is about signal recalibration. It's about truly remembering who you are. And I want to help you understand that goal achievement isn't about hustle. It's about identity. It's about identity congruence. We've heard congruent. Well, you need to be congruent in your message. You need to be congruent in your conversation, in your self-talk. And this identity congruence and your nervous system, we see all of these tools, all of these tools. I don't even know where my Mindy is. We've got things you clip on your ears from the HeartMath Lab. You've got the Mindy tool you put on that looks at blood flow in the prefrontal cortex. You've got the thing you've probably seen 100 times, maybe not. Your algorithms might not be tuned to it, but the Pulsetto, the thing you put on your neck to activate your to relax your vagus nerve. All of these things are energy-based tools. Energy-based tools. And they work on energy based upon your nervous system. The reason you are struggling right now is your nervous system is out of alignment with the message you have going on in your body, right? And this is why the definite major purpose is significant. Having your definite major purpose written out, the physiology of writing it out, the psychology of writing it out, the visual of seeing yourself create and then read what you created is significant. So the purpose code conversation the theme is about stop setting goals and remembering who decides. You made a decision to be here this morning. Who decided that? The content you're going to hear this morning, who's going to decide if you use it? The content you have stored up in your minds, the books you've read, the seminars you've been to, the activities that you are partaken in. And you wrote down notes. You wrote in your journal. You said, that is going to change my life. And you refuse to use it consistently. So here we are in December. This is the month that most people take time. If you're waiting to set your goals in January, you're already a little too late. So I would encourage you to remember that, right? Most people who are wildly detailed started this the beginning of the third quarter. They started setting their goals the beginning of the third quarter. Not the fourth quarter, the beginning of the third quarter. Where am I at? What have I done? So this idea is as we step into 2026, I want you to think about goals a little bit differently. I want you to think about goals a little bit differently. Most people are setting goals from habit, not from signal. Sean, I've been listening to you for the last couple of years, and you talk about frequency and you talk about vibration and you're talking about signal. Bob Proctor has been talking about vibration since I remember when he was our personal mentor 22 years ago. Bob Proctor was Michelle and mine's personal mentor, right? So he was always talking about vibration at that point. He was talking about your state of mind. So this isn't about setting goals from habit, it's about setting goals from signal. Are you setting a goal based upon what you think other people will think of you? Because that's how most goals are set. And the reason that it's about what other people think of you, because if you thought about you, addiction to approval kicks in, right? Shame kicks in. So you're doing this out of habit, setting things that will force you into shame, that will cause you to fail, so that you can be in a struggle conversation and not be outstanding among those you have a conversation with. See, typically, people will talk about, they'll say they have an issue, they have a challenge, they have a problem, they have a situation. Why is it that you can understand their conversation? Does that make sense? A prospect, you're talking to a prospect. I don't have money. And you understand that because you don't have money. I don't have time. You understand that. You don't ask for more clarification because you understand that because you don't have time. Do you hear how this is habitual? This is habit. So I want to talk to you about three simple things real quickly before I go into Q&A and you get to ask me anything. I just want to give you a little bit of insight, a little bit of change the way you look at things, right? Wayne Dyer conversation. So the first law, one of the first laws, I would suggest, one of the first chisel it in stone thought concepts is identity first, goal second. You can't set a goal that conflicts with who you currently believe you are. Does that make sense? You can't set a goal and achieve it if it conflicts with who you currently believe you are. So before you write down a single target, ask yourself, who must I be to make this goal inevitable? When's the last time you heard that when you were goal setting? Somebody said to you, who do you need to be let's figure out who you need to be first to achieve this goal before we set the goal. Right? Jim Rohn said, set a goal so big it makes you proud of who you become in the searching of the goal. Once you achieve the goal, are you proud to be that person? That's the identity shift. Yet we think, well, I'd be proud if I had the money. No, you make more money now than you did when you were 12, and you're sadder now, more frustrated now, more agitated now. You got more indigestion and pains and muscle aches and everything else than you did when you were 12, and you make more money. So more money isn't the answer. You got more things now, and that's not the answer either. It's because you are sitting in a place that you are not comfortable with the identity you've chosen as you step into this process. So so identity first, goal second. So here's some bullet points. Who must I become to make this goal inevitable? Right? If I put a bowl of dog food down with 5 dogs, it is inevitable. It is inevitable that they are going to eat all of the dog food. Why? Because they are dogs and they like the dog food. What is it that what skill, talent, or resource must you imply, must you implore, must you begin to use to make your goal inevitable? It's an absolute given, right? What emotions or habits would that version of me no longer negotiate? See, we negotiate all the time with social media, with scrolling, with our food choices. our our health choices. I'm going to walk every day. I'm going to do a push-up every day. I'm going to do this every day. And then, well, I'm not today. Tomorrow I'll do it. I'll do it tomorrow. We have such a poor capacity to follow through on our suggestions. They're not decisions, because if it was a decision, the good thing about decisions is once you make one, you do not have to make it again. We become habitually suggestion influenced in our own success. Okay, all right. Today, I'm going to start it. That's not a decision. If you make a decision, you do not have to worry one moment anymore. I said no, I know, that's it, done. Right? So the key to understand is that in this conversation, that these rules, right, these laws of identity first, goal second, you've got to ask, who do you become first? Because there's a lot of people who get their goal. How many people do you know who might be a little frustrated, a little agitated, they lose their relationship? They get the goal and the relationship turns to hell in a handbasket. Because they didn't set out who they would become on the way to, and they became something or somebody that nobody wanted to be around, which isn't what they wanted. They got too focused on the goal versus the identity. That makes sense? That's number one. Number two, rehearsal over resolution. The nervous system doesn't obey inspiration. We've gotten inspired about our goals. We've gotten inspired about the things we want. We get fired up. The first chapter of Think and Grow Rich, desire. Also talks about discipline. Discipline is the ability to do something long after the emotion of making that decision fades away. Bob Proctor would say, do the thing until you don't have to do the thing. Then you'll want to do it. Your nervous system, the 30 trillion, 40 trillion cells that you have in your body are so strong, right? We talk about 3 strands can't be broken. 1 little string you can break. 2 strings gets a little tougher. 3 strands, it's pretty hard to break, right? Comes out of the Bible. 3 strands can't be broken. What about 40 trillion strands of you wired in? Can you remember something from your childhood? That was stored in your cells. That's stored in your cells. Those things your friends have to remind you about. Don't you remember Mrs. Miller's class? I sat behind you, and the girl who sat next to us, Connie, you liked her? Geez, I don't remember. Remember when the fire alarm went off and you fell out of your desk? Oh my God. I had forgotten about that. You're so right. You recalled the whole thing, right? That's because your nervous system didn't see that as anything of value to store in your cells. It stored it in the ether, in the memory outside of you that you were able to access and pull back into you. And then as soon as you felt it, you felt either the embarrassment or the laughter, or you started laughing, or you go, oh my gosh, I remember it all now. And it literally took on a visceral feeling inside your body. Those are your cells reactivating an experience from 30 years ago, 40 years ago. It's wired in your cells because every cell is being duplicated with the same frequency that it currently has. 10 million cells a second. 10 million cells a second. 10 million are being made, 10 million are dying. Which is why you can go to an event and get so excited and get inspired, and then you never do the rehearsing, you never do the rehearsal, and therefore it loses. Science shows that if we don't repeat something within 24 hours, we lose about 60% of its energy. Right now, I'm having this conversation with you and you're taking notes. Your brain has fired up in the capacity, in the space where you concentrate on your learning, on your personal undevelopment, as I call it. The neural connections instantly just fired up and turned on and went from about 1,300 connections per synapse to 2,300. because there could be something life-changing. You're inspired, you're motivated. This is a thing, oh man, I love doing this. I need to be able to grasp all of it. And so your brain has expanded its ability, its capacity to remember all of this. Challenge is tomorrow you won't remember it or you won't use it. And so therefore half of that, the connections go from 2,600 down to back to 1,300 in about 24 hours because you're not using it. There's no reason. The brain loves order. The brain loves consistency. The brain loves habit. And you growing, you expanding, you stepping into the unknown takes a lot of energy, and the brain won't put up with it. So it controls you. So rehearsal is more important than resolution. You can't decide once. You must rehearse the decision until your body believes you. So here's a couple of little rituals. Here's a couple of little morning routines. Morning, 1 minute, the body of alignment. Breathe, name your DMP out loud. Just breathe, saying your DMP out loud. On before the December 31st, 2026, I choose to have, I will have in my possession. Blank. What's the dollar figure? Breathe. Breathing is so important. If you are not breathing while you're doing this stuff, if you have a dream board and you're looking at it and not breathing, you are not taking in, you are not expanding your capability, you are not expanding your nervous system to allow that dream board to float into your system. Midday, noontime, one decision that honors that DMP. What's one decision you could do? Look at your goals, pull out your goal card. What did Bob Proctor say? He read his goal card twice a day. I know he read it more than that, but he's telling you twice because we're mostly people who want a simple task. We don't want to do the possible. We want to do the less than average so we don't stand out among our friends. That's a whole nother psychological conversation. So midday, one decision that honors your DMP. What did you do yesterday that honored your DMP? What did you do yesterday that honored the person you're going to become in 2026? Well, I didn't. Congratulations. How's that working for you? Then at night, one reflection question. Simple reflection question. Did I move from drift or from decision? Outwitting the Devil talks about drifting. That's how the devil controls us. It gets us to drift. Instead of 2 minutes of TikTok scroll, we're 2 hours later. Did you move today from drift? You let the world guide you, or you learn to say no to the things that are not on your success list. So ask yourself the question, did I move from drift or from decision? You'll be amazed at how much you drift. Number 3, right? Decide, don't drift. Drift is the silent killer. It's the silent killer, not of goal setting. Drift is the killer, sometimes not so silently, of destiny, of legacy. And it happens every time you delay a decision because you're waiting to feel ready. Well, I'll do that tomorrow. I'm going to wait on that to do that. I'm going to do this. Dive your ass in. Get to work now. That would be my conversation. That's the conversation. That's why we have to describe and identify the identities that we have. We have a kick-ass going forward identity. We have a delay identity. We have a decision identity. We have a drift identity. We have 1,001 identities inside of us. You have to ask the question. Sounds a little crazy, but you know what's more crazy than what I'm about to say? You not reaching your goals. That's even more crazy. You struggling, you beating your head against the wall day after day after day after day. It's because you have a coach or you have a teacher. You don't have a mentor. You're not using the mentorship in your life properly, because a mentor is only designed, a true mentor. Anybody who has the term mentor, the only qualification they can have is that they get you to do things you didn't know you could do, period. If they're teaching you, they're a coach. If they're training you, they're a coach, they're a teacher. If you are doing things you outside of your capacity, outside of your capability, outside of your personal belief, it's because there's somebody who sees something in you that you don't see in you. So, number 3, decide, don't drift. Choose one area this week where you would begin where you've been overthinking a career move, a health habit, a relationship pattern, and close the loop. Say out loud this: I decide this now, not because I'm ready, because I'm done drifting. See, it's your self-talk. I know self-talk seems so childish and seems so, I don't need to do it every day. And it's just a hassle to listen to the same thing over and over and over again. It is, until it's not, because you're listening to the same crap in your head over and over and over again. And the stuff that when you start to listen to positive, improving self-talk, your old story is even more louder and says, why are you doing this? You don't have time for this. You got stuff to do. You're busy. You got things to do. You got to stay stuck. You're listening to this, life becomes effortless. You got to put effort into your day. You're stuck. Why would you write out your DMP? Why would you wake up earlier to do that? You're stuck. Why would you do that? Why would you say thank you 100 times today? How many of you said thank you 100 times yesterday? I can promise you it's going to be about 1 to 2%. 100 times said thank you. Well, I'm so busy. I got to make money. Okay. Let me know how that's working out for you. So the purpose code, that 5-day challenge that we did, the purpose code, your DMP, the purpose code, it was 5 hours. I don't know, 3 days, 2 hour and a half. It was 7 hours of content. It's an amazing program that you have access to for those of you that attended it. The purpose code isn't another goal setting method. It's an identity activation system. It doesn't ask you to dream bigger. It asks you to become clearer. And once you've remembered your signal, your goals become gravitational and you start moving towards them because you've stopped contradicting yourself. Right? So as you begin 2026, skip the resolutions, rehearse your reality, anchor your DMP into your body, your calendar, and your language. This isn't about motivation. It's about your nervous system and having your nervous system in congruence with your purpose. And when you live from that place, when you live from that energy, when you live from that frequency, clarity becomes your default state. And achievement becomes the side effect. What would happen? What would happen if you were in such a state that success is the default, is the side effect, is the thing that happens naturally without any challenge? So that's my little conversation for you this morning. Good morning, everybody. How can I be of best service to you? What questions do you have? It could be about that, could be about anything, could be about goal setting, goal achieving. How can I be of best service? And I think I saw her pop in. Did I see Selena? Yes, I did. Hey, Selena, look at that. We got some OGs back in the house. Dylan's here. Selena's here. How can I be of best service? What questions, comments, thoughts? What can I do to be?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I was curious about your journey with creating your self-identity
Yeah. Oof.
and
What a train wreck
what
that.
was your experience like?
Well, so one of the things that happens is that usually we don't believe we have control over our identity until it's ripped away from us. And usually that's caused by some emotional trauma. And it's either ripped away from us or we wind up stepping into one that we didn't know we ever stepped into. So trauma does that. And usually that's why childhood traumas are so valuable. So valuable to understand. They have made us who we are. We are not who we should be today because we have never let go of who we were told we were when we were little. Mine happened, my most significant one happened when I was 14. I live it almost every day. And it wasn't that it happened to me. It was that when my brother was outed, right? This is in the late 70s when My brother was outed as gay in our house, a Roman Catholic family. We were the big shots in the church. We were probably one of the most affluent families in our community. So to have a son who is gay, the oldest son who is gay, come out, be told, and try and to not want that, to it wasn't the in thing to do. I don't know that it's still the, if it's ever become the in thing to do, but it's a little easier, right? But he was the only one for miles around that became public. I say that to say on that day, life changed forever. My mom wanted him tossed out. It was a highly emotional 12 hours. The emotions calmed down because things stopped being thrown after 12 hours. Let me just put it that way. So that was the day I chose to never be sad again, to never be mad again, to never have a bad day again. It was such a visceral, I don't know why I had the ability to make the decision. I don't know where I got that skill from. I know it came from my dad and my dad's training and the way he operated. I didn't know how powerful the decision was I made. I say that all to say this. There is something in your life that has made you who you are, period. It is not the outside environment. It is not your compensation plan. It is not the stamps in a passport. That did not make you. It's the story you have about you that made you. And that is where most people have struggled. Most people have never come face to face with their identity because we keep piling crap on. We keep putting stuff on. It's called personal development. We keep developing and developing and developing and developing. And all of it is useless because we're not moving forward. We're not advancing. We're not quantum leaping into our greatness until we remember who we are. And we usually have that place where we are stripped bare, where we are laid open for all of the world to see, more importantly, for us to see, maybe for the first time, to make a decision. So my journey started when I was 14. All y'all's journeys started when you were in your single digits and in your teens. You've just tried to cover it up. You've just tried to keep it hidden. And then somebody like me comes along and says, that trauma is still in there. It's still in every cell in your body. If you still think about it and you want to throw up, you get sick, you get frustrated, you say things like, I don't want to think about that. That doesn't bring me joy. It is wrecking your life to an extreme. And you keep piling stuff. You keep trying to shove it into a corner. I'm not saying you got to take it out and marry it, but you have to take it out and love it because it has made you who you are today. And that's one of the things. I was never taught this. I didn't have a mentor. I had my dad, and my dad wasn't an emotional mentor. He was a strategy mentor. He was a state mentor, right? Nothing ever seemed to bother him. He would stay in state. When he would lose it, which is what I came up with the expression that I use for myself. If you see me worried, then you panic. Because when I saw my dad get mad, I panicked. I didn't know what to, the ability to predict him was unpredictable at that moment. He never hit us. He never did any of that. He would break things. He would get so mad at my mom because of her drinking. All that to say, I focused on that. I stopped. You grow up on a farm, you don't have a lot of outside friends. I lived 20 miles away from my school, my high school. So friends weren't coming over to toss the ball around. So I had to do a lot of self-thinking, and I had to work on me. And I was listening to tapes and audios from a very early age. And I just realized it was a lot easier to be in a room if you were happy, and to be invited into more rooms if you brought joy into the room, than not. I used to walk through my grade school, St. Helens, a Catholic school, grade school, and every day I'd walk through the kitchen and thank the volunteer kitchen staff on Wednesdays when we would have hot lunch on Wednesdays, and thank them. I was the only kid. I couldn't understand how I was the only kid that did that. I thought it was odd, but the ladies liked it. The moms liked it. I would come in and say, hey, listen, thank you, everybody. Oh, Sean, we love you. So, because I found that as a great source of, right? Bob Proctor talks about monetary income and psychic income. That was a hell of a psychic income. And I realized if I just said thank you once, I had leverage. 10 women in the kitchen would say, "We love you. Oh, come give us a hug." So that's how I've worked at it. And then what I realized is that most people are stuck with an old identity. I'm going to change this year. February, the change is gone. Why? How? You made a decision. Then I realized nobody makes decisions. They make suggestions to themselves. So then I realized I could step into a world where I could keep you corralled. I could take this raging bull, this raging rhino of desire inside of you and do my best to contain it. I was the one that used to get hurt. I was the one that used to get exhausted till I realized I could ask you better questions. And that's how I learned to ask the power of questions. Because you got the answers. I stopped fighting you a long time, the editorial, you listening. And I came up with questions, which is why nobody wants to have a conversation with me, because it's like, oh, shit, if I ask him questions, I know what he's going to say. I know what he's going to say. I know what he's going to say. I know what he's going to ask me. Drop an A in the chat if you know what I'm going to ask you. So you don't ask. So maybe that was a way long story that didn't get us anywhere, but hopefully it gave some idea.
And with that self-identity at 14,
Yep.
how did that play out when you were older and you started to step into entrepreneurship and your own personal success? Like, how did those two things connect?
So I was selling corn off a hay wagon when I was 5. I had my own businesses, literally businesses. They weren't incorporated, and we didn't file the LLC. We just called them LLC. So I have always had a business. I was never employed till I was in my 30s, and that was the vice president of sales, the first job I ever had. So we always had family businesses. So the way it correlated is that when I decided that I'm enough, when I decided to never have another bad day, it changed everything. There was a frequency that showed up in the rooms. If I was invited into, we're having a family meeting and we're talking about one of the divisions that it's not doing so well, not one of my divisions, but one of the divisions that's not doing so well. And we have to sit down. Do we close it? Do we put more funds into it? Do we allocate? Do we each allocate time to that to assist that department to grow? And if I was late to the room, which usually wasn't the case, if I was in the room, you could see people when they came in, this almost depressing feeling come over them because their argument wasn't going to work. So I realized I didn't understand frequency that the way I understand frequency now. I didn't understand that our heart vibration extends 10 feet out into the world, right? We have this. So people would walk into my heart vibration and they would become disappointed. I used to think it was a disappointment in me until again, in self-introspection, one of the things that I become very good at is deep self-introspection. I would review things in a way that I was the reporter. When I tell you to identify your things, one of my identities was the reporter going, okay, let's review what the hell just happened in there. People walked in and they had a smile on their face. And as soon as they came into the room, they saw me, or at least I thought they saw me, and they would go, ugh. And what I realized was later on, and the reason that the first job I ever had was vice president of a $200 million network marketing company. My first job, most of you, your first jobs were something where it was an hourly pay. My first job was salary. It was my first job ever was a $200,000 a year income. That was the first job I ever had. It was a kind of a cut and pay, but I never had a job. I thought, oh, well, this is cool. I guess everybody's first job is probably, I know, but people work at McDonald's, so I don't know how they do that. Anyway, so what I realized is that my energy was so overpowering because I didn't know how to infuse it. Right? If you take vinegar and oil and just shoot vinegar and oil, it'll always sit on the top. There has to be a way to agitate it. And what I realized is that I was this overpowering, non-homogenizing energy because I had such a desire, I was going to be right frequency. And it was right, which is the annoying thing, till I learned how to allow people to blend into that, take on some of my energy and use it for themselves. See, my energy wasn't contagious. It was conflicting until I figured out how to change the frequency of it to make it contagious. So that's how that worked in the entrepreneurial spirit. There's no reason for somebody who's never had a job, has no resume, to get offered, to get invited. I didn't even seek it. I refused it. That my first job was a $200,000 a year vice president of sales of an international network marketing company. What's your experience? I love people. So that's how it worked. That's how it translated into it just, opportunities came, things came. I built international organizations. They just came. Not because I worked at it, because that was the frequency I wanted. And the universe will deliver on any frequency you give it. So that's when I learned. And that's why I, of course, fell in love with Bob Proctor and all of these people, and Jim Rohn and the visions and the statements. There's some people out there who are hypocrites in their words, right? They say one thing and do something else. The universe takes care of them. I used to follow those people thinking, yeah, but that's just over there. No, your frequency is everywhere. It's everywhere, every moment, every second of every day, every nanosecond of every day. So if I come to your house and you swear all the time or you do stuff, there's an incongruency there that the universe will address accordingly. So I realize that who you are when you are is how you are. And if there's a shift in that because you step into a different environment, your life is going to be a wreck. If you have to become something unique for that particular situation, you become unique. You become destructive to your own story. And that's why I've been focusing on story. That's why I'm the story guy, CSO, Chief Story Officer, right? My partners who I partner with, a couple of people, icons in the industry. I still work with them. They're still family, if you will. But when we partnered up and we created a company called Your Vision Partners, I was one of the Your Vision Partners. And of all of the people they could choose in the world, of all of the people they could choose in the world, of all of the people they have in their Rolodex, I was the one that they said, hey, listen, we want you to work with us. Okay. Jim Rohn would say that's a clue. So that's how it's transpired. The ranch, gone 3 times. They said, you guys have got to take the ranch, right? This was taken away from, we had 3 chances of it, 3 big swings at it. And because Michelle and I kind of held our ground, we held our frequency, we held our vibration. We wanted to break it. We wanted to change the rules because this is such a spectacular place. First time, no, okay. So, all right. So how do we make it, how do we have to limit ourselves? And we didn't. And usually you won't limit yourself when you get ticked off. Well, that's just silly. No, I'm not going to change for that, because if I change for that, it wrecks everything I've been and everywhere I'm going. And that's when you make a decision. You have to decide who you are, and your definite major purpose causes you to decide who you are, which is why most people can't do a definite major purpose, because they're afraid to say who they're going to become. That's where the resistance is. Why would you resist something that has been proven for the 500 most successful men at the time in the early 1900s? The 500 most successful people at the time gave you the clue, gave you the cheat codes to success. Napoleon Hill was the first person to author it and put it all together into one package called Think and Grow Rich, the 13 Principles. Why would you refuse that? It has proven success. We keep wanting to, how do I do this? How do I do this? So when you find out that there's proven success and it seems odd, it seems, well, yeah, I read it, but just didn't understand it. That's a clue. Well, I don't necessarily, I mean, I like Think and Grow Rich, but I don't necessarily do all of the principles. That's a clue. It's a freaking clue. I don't know what else to say. If God came down and handed you the 12 tablets, the two tablets with the testaments, right? and you don't follow them, that's a pretty big, those are some rules you're breaking. If Napoleon Hill creates 13, not 313, 13 principles, and you don't follow them, I don't know what to say to you other than how's that working for you? So it made me realize that I'm responsible for me. I'm the only one. When I read the thing from Epictetus, those of you with desire, put it on the shelf till you decide what's within your circle of influence and what's outside your circle of influence. Once you decide the things you don't have any control over, and you decide clearly what you do have control over, that circle that you do have control over, go back, pick up desire. You'll never have another bad day. The reason most of you have a bad day is you haven't decided, you're trying to influence things you have no control over. And force doesn't mean control. Invitation, right? Who do you become that the success of your goals is a side effect? It happens naturally. It has to happen regardless. That's what most people don't get. When you shift your energy, when you work on you and you get yourself to your core frequency, not what your frequency is, not what your frequency is, your core frequency, success is a side effect. Joy is a side effect. You don't even have to worry about it anymore. So that's how it shifted me. That's how it's translated into my success. Another long answer, because there's a lot of conversation to why it works. The biggest reason is I made a decision. I had such a traumatic experience that I said, I am never going to feel this way again. I choose to have good days every day. Didn't happen right away. It got so interesting that when I would ask to remove myself from a negative situation, which my family was a lot, hey, is it okay if I leave? Is it okay if I go feed the cows? Is it okay if I go water the dogs? Oh, whatever. Yes. You never want to sit and have a conversation. I go, this isn't a conversation. This is an argument that's one side and I have to agree with it. And I don't disagree with it, but I'm not going to be if you want to have a dialogue, not a monologue, two monologues that bump into each other, I'll sit and listen. But I'm not going to have a monologue where you tell me to feel bad. Oh, I'm not telling you to do that. You kind of are. If you make me unjoyful, I'm not going to be around you. Next. Until it got to a point to where I wouldn't ask for permission to leave. I would go to get to stand up. My mom would say, all right, I'll stop. I'll say, hey, I'm not asking you to change. I'm just not going to be in that environment. And so the same thing happens when I go into a boardroom, when I'm asked to come in to consult. I show up with such a overwhelming, allowing energy. I allow them to be them. They just realize they can't change me. They can't influence me to their thinking, to their frequency. And from that place, we wind up with masterminds that are absolutely brilliant. So that's how it's translated into my world. 61 years later. Well, take off 14 years. So what is that? 50 years later, 48 years later, 49 years later.
Thank you
Questions?
for sharing that.
You bet. Any follow-up questions?
So you learned that riding a unicycle at St. Helens was a little bit boring, huh?
Well, it wasn't boring when Father Moran would grab you because, again, farm boy, and played a little rougher than most. I kind of shoulder checked one of the girls. Didn't knock her off her unicycle, but I checked her and she kind of wobbled a little bit. And Father Moran grabbed me off of my unicycle and threw me against the wall. So it made me remember the moments of unicycling. But we used to ride at St. Helens. Bob brings that up. We used to ride unicycles between classes. And there's talk about another OG. Bob Parks is another one of the OGs. What a great day. Something in the universe must have aligned and brought all of your wonderful souls to give me some joy today. It's because I love seeing the names. Yeah. So yeah, we used to ride unicycles, that one-wheeled thing that you see people, sometimes they have now races and stuff. But yeah, I was doing that in fourth grade, I started at St. Helens. Third grade started in St. Helens. Yeah, third grade to eighth grade rode unicycles. It's tough on the farm because we had a really gravelly driveway. If you learn not to fall quick. Anyone else? Thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways? 2026 goals, 2026 achievements. What you
Morning,
got
John.
going? Hey, good morning, Diane.
This is really good, and I have some stuff to share. But what was number one? I kind of came on a little.
Number one was, hold please. Number one was identity first, goal second. You can't set a goal that contradicts who you currently believe you are. Identity first, goal second. Who must I come to make this who must I be to make the goal inevitable? That one question is worth $1 million to all of us.
Yes.
Who must I be to make the goal inevitable? Most of us don't believe the goal is inevitable. I got to work for it. I got to struggle for it. I got to do this for it. I got to do this. If you become the person that is of the frequency of the vibration, that the result is the goal is inevitable. I know it's simple. I know it's silly. If every one of you asked me individually, Sean, how are you today? There's an inevitable answer.
Yes.
Outstanding. For 6 years, you've all heard it. For decades, I've said it. So I've become the outstanding vibration when somebody says, how are you? So much so of its inevitability-ness, I doubt that's a word, that people know, I know you're going to be outstanding. I know, isn't it awesome? So can you become the person of the goal that the goal is inevitable? It's inevitable. I know if you bring somebody on, I've had people bring people on, and the person who is a part of the community who brought the guest asks the guest, hey, ask Sean how he is. Why? Because they know the inevitable answer is I'm going to say outstanding. Can you become the person that the goal that you're seeking for 2026 is inevitable?
Mm-hmm.
It's a given. Nobody would look at you and say, well, you can't do that. And the only place you can become inevitable is up here. Because
Yes.
everything you're going to eat, everything you're going to do, everything you're going to think, everything you're going to say happens in your every way you're going to feel happens in your brain. No place else. A memory from the outside, the external universe resource, memory places that you have it when it flows into your brain, triggers the vibration, the signal. There are no words in your brain. It happens in your brain.
You couldn't be a depressive if you wanted to because you can't outperform your identity.
Exactly.
That's true. That's so true.
Yep.
And it's funny. Well, I decided this week I went out to in-person networking event. This lady, she was in BNI when I was a couple of years ago, and she's sold her business and she's starting another company. So she invited me, and I reconnected with some older connections I had made way back. And one lady's doing coaching, and so we were talking, and she said, "Would you like to collaborate? Because I really like your ideas." And it's things that you have taught me, Sean, that it just naturally flows. And so we're going to do that. And then I met this young woman from Armenia. She has 5 children
Wow.
and moved here. She was in Ontario and moved to Nova Scotia because she wanted like the smaller town feel. But she's a go-getter. So she wants to start her own company and she wants to do something in educating. So she texted me this big long text yesterday because we went to get something to eat before the meeting. It was at IKEA. They have a big meeting room.
Yep.
And
Wow.
her credit card wouldn't work. So I said, it's on me today. So she couldn't get over that. She's texted me like 3 times yesterday to say, oh my goodness, thank you again. Thank you again. And so we're going to get together and see how we can help each other. And so it's open doors, and and like you said, you just ask questions and you just show up. And like my journey in the last 7 months, I would never really talk much about it, but it just seemed so natural when we did the circle. It just came out, and we talked about it, and it was just such a natural thing that I didn't get nervous or any of those things. So it was a really interesting day, and the follow-ups have been amazing. So I think I finally get out of that drifting.
Good. Feels
And
good, doesn't it?
yeah, it does. And it was funny because when on my way home, I'm listening. I always put my phone on to listen to something. And what came up was 7 levels of consciousness as an audio. And I was like, okay, that's a sign. So I just wanted to say, yeah, it's a great feeling. And I think I'm finally ready. Like I think I was always waiting and waiting and waiting to start, but you convinced me to just go and do it. And so there you go. So thank you,
Well,
thank you.
you are welcome. Couple of things to become aware of. Because I heard this and I was reminded of it in my mind. When we stop drifting, we don't leave the river,
Mhm.
right? A lot of people think, well, I got to do something different. I have to stop drifting. You can't leave the river of consciousness. You just decide where you're going to go with your consciousness. And when your frequency shows up, it shows up in such a way that you can't drift anymore. Your rudder becomes 10 foot tall, and the slightest little shift in your awareness causes you to see things, right? Your reticular programming to your reticular activating system.
Mhm.
So congratulations. And why it feels so good is that the level of decision making goes down to minimum. And the other thing that I heard in relationship to the woman that you said lunch is on me for, and she texted you 3 times. When you would sit down with her, I'd ask her, so it's been a while since you received gifts, isn't it? It's been a while since somebody took care of you. Because if my taking care of lunch caused you to have this overwhelming exuberance of life and joy, there's been a lot more things that people have not assisted you in receiving. Are you okay? And if we collaborate, that I can help you receive more gifts? Because that's going to be the biggest limit with the conversation with this woman, with the frequency with this woman. She's the giver. She's the go-getter. She's not the go-giver. She winds up giving from her empty bucket. She winds up all of this stuff. The reason she likes a smaller town, because she needs to be the bigger fish, not because she wants to be, because that's the only place her identity can thrive, because she can give to more people without losing her identity. And so as you have the conversation with her, just say, hey, listen, is it okay if I give more to you and you give more to me? I've never been asked that question. No, I know. I work with some pretty cuckoo for Cocoa Puff people. So that's awesome. Congratulations. How's it feel?
It feels really good, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Is the feeling strong enough? Does the feeling make you feel good enough to not delay ever again?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Delene introduced me to her friend, and she said, you travel. This lady works at the airport, and here's her, and she'll give you her card, and there's a way you could park there without having to pay. So have coffee with her. So we're gonna have coffee too. It's just she calls herself a connector, and it is so funny. Like, and I ran into some other these 2 guys who had migrated here years ago, and I met them years ago at a networking event. So they came up to me and said, "Do you remember me?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And um, I said, "You live in Heron Cove and blah blah blah." And he goes, "Yeah." He said, "I've moved up. I'm in Halifax now." And it's just a small community outside. It's not far.
Right.
But yeah, it's interesting. They're saying, yes, you know what? Like we love Halifax now. And one guy was from Mexico and one guy was from the Middle East. So it's funny how different backgrounds and all these people that came were so nervous, and now they're just fitting right into the communities that they live in because of going out and meeting people and networking. And so it's really interesting.
Well, there's that book, right?
Yeah.
The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari,
Oh, yes, yes, I've got
Right.
that.
right? And the other phrase that they say, I've never seen a rich monk.
Hmm.
The richness, the wealth that's around all of us. If I moved to Shirley and just stayed here on the ranch and never went out, and we didn't have the sheep and I didn't meet all of the people as it relates to farming and all of that stuff and the farm stores and the feed stores, I would think, what a bunch of jerks live around here. Nobody comes by. Well, the riches aren't in your place, they're in the world around you. And until the world around you sees the riches you have to offer, there's no reason to come digging in your life. So congratulations.
Wow, that's true. That's
Yeah,
bonus.
right?
Right?
Yeah. Well, so you know everybody here on the street, right? You've been to
Yeah.
the parties when they come. Do you
Mhm.
realize that I said this, and I think I said it's the events. Michelle sent a text out and invited everybody over to the house when we got things, the back porch settled, and we had to grill and gas and everything because you guys showed up with we had a refrigerator and no toilets. And people have become the best friends now. We don't go anywhere. You know, when we have the meeting, when we have the Thursday night event at the Mexican place, and they all show up, they
Yes.
would be mad if we didn't invite them.
Mm.
But they never used to go out with each other. There wasn't this community here. And Michelle just sent a text saying, hey, listen, we're having a kind of come meet the neighbors party. We'd love to meet you all. Come on over for dinner. And somebody said at dinner saying, if I knew I could just invite people by texting, I might have done a long time ago.
Yes, no, you built quite a community there.
Yeah. And that's all due to Michelle because I wasn't going to do it.
No, but when you go to town, the guys at Walmart,
Yes.
the feed store, like that's your brand. That's your brand. That's
It
when you,
is.
yeah.
But I
You
gotta go. I gotta go be on stage. Do y'all know that? You know, you come to my house. I've showed my own house.
know.
So yeah, it is. And when they come over, yes, I love to entertain and this, that, or the other. But I'm still shy enough that I wouldn't ask. Michelle's the one. Well, we're doing this. We're having a party, and now the holidays are here. So now she's planning another party, and there's 4 new neighbors that have moved in that are now coming to the party that I don't know who the hell they are. And we're having a cookie exchange.
Oh, well, there you go. See, all those things enrich your lives.
Yes. You know,
Thank
when
you,
they say
Michelle.
opposite, Michelle's this introvert. She's more extrovert than I am.
It's funny, isn't it? I
It
have a
is.
daughter-in-law that says she's an introvert, but
Yeah.
it's
And everybody says I'm the extrovert. Mm-mm. You put me on stage, I perform. I'm a performer. I'm not an extrovert.
Mm.
I can perform. I can because I've practiced. An extrovert would be somebody who's just bubbly. And my niece is an extrovert. She's never met. She could talk to a telephone pole and make it laugh. I mean, she's amazing. I'm not that. I'm a performer.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you.
You're welcome, welcome, welcome. Talk about OGs. Zalika just sent me a text. Okay. Hey, Zalika. I'll make sure you have the link for tomorrow. It should be the same link, but maybe not. I'll make sure you get it.
Love it. Great morning.
Good morning. Hey, D.
Oh, feels good to be back. What a masterclass, as always. Oh, I love it. Awesome, awesome. So I just got back from Guatemala. We had the mission trip over there. Really cool.
Oh,
And this
wow.
conversation is spot on. Dealing with the identity. So I'm over there, and Brian Carruthers, he's giving back to an orphanage. He created a school that they started from scratch with all of these kids over there. And even just thinking now, looking back at it, these were a couple things I was thinking about. Who do I have to become to be able to get to this level, to be able to give back at such a scale? And we went on a really cool hike. There's a place in Guatemala. It's called Habitanengo, and you've got to take this little buggy, and you go all the way to the tippy top, like 8,000 square feet up. And I'm looking up there, and the thoughts that I'm thinking of is, setting goals coming into the new year. But even this piece right here is huge. You can't set the goals unless the identity is there first. So huge aha moment, really thinking about it, because it's a big difference setting one side before the other.
Well, and here's the key, and here's where the dilemma exists. The identity has to exist if you can set the goal. We choose not to step into living into that vibration, right? God doesn't give you the chance to think of something and then say, I'm going to achieve that. Right? Hill was right. If you see it, believe it, you can achieve it. We lack on the belief. Right? Tony Robbins' little square, left corner, potential, right corner, action, bottom below action, below the action is results. And then that leads to belief. How much potential exists in your ability? What is the potential of reaching your goal? 100%. The potential is 100%. I don't care. You want to put 2 schools in next year, 100% potential. It requires you to take actions. And if 100% potential exists of the possibility, what percentage of actions exists to make that possibility a reality? 100%. We wind up taking 5-10% of the actions available to us, which then gives us a result, which isn't 100% result. It's a failure. It's a hit or miss. It's a whatever. And then that drives our belief. And yet we want to get into actions. Tell me how to do actions. Tell me how to do actions. Tell me how to do actions. Because I need to change my results. The only thing you can influence is belief. The potential is always there. The actions are always there. And the results are always there. The only thing that's fluctuating is your belief. And until you believe, until you have inspiration, until you have said no to every belief that is driving you and keeping you stuck, you can, right? Why do you have people on your team? You're doing this amazing leadership skill set training, and you say they have so much potential. And they keep coming to you with, well, how do I do that? How do I do that? How do I do that? Give me the script. Give me the script. How do I do that? And their results suck. It's because their belief isn't in the right place. And the only thing, I can't change your results. I can help you influence your belief. I can't change your actions because I got to work on your belief. I used to be one hell of a, here's what you do, because I was successful. I've been to the place. I've been to the mountain. I seen Muhammad. I know what to do. So I would tell you what to do, and it would never work. Till I realized the only thing that I have to ask you is, do you believe it's possible? You do. Why? And then I started developing the 7 levels before I ever heard Dean Graziosi talk about it. I used to ask people to go 7 levels deep 30 years ago, which was unheard of. That was like, why are you interrogating me? Because I'm an asshole. And that's was my frequency at that time. I was running sales organization, and I would interrogate you better than any mafia would. Till I realized if I changed the way I look at things, no, Wallace D. Wattles, it's not about doing certain things. It's not taking you 7 levels deep. It's about taking you deep in a way that you're happy when you get there. I was the key to, if your why doesn't make you cry, I would make people cry on level 2. I'm like, see, I got you. Then I realized me getting you doesn't get you where you want to go. So yeah, you've got it. It's all about the belief. Who do you become? What's the word they're going to put on your statue for 2026? Well, I don't want a statue. Well, then you're not going to have a big enough impact. If they're not going to build a statue to you at the end of 2026, what the hell are you going to start for? You're not going to have that much impact. You have the ability to influence thousands. And if everybody put $1 in, or 100 people, $100,000 for a statue for you because they all put $1 in, why not? What's the word you want on the You've got to have enough ego that says they're going to build a statue to me, not because I want to, because I've just given them so much. Giving, caring, schooling, whatever it is, they got to put a word on the bottom of your statue. And if you're not going to impact the world big enough for them to want to build a statue, for them to want to recognize you and love you and show you the only way they can, the only way they can say thank you is to build this edifice to you, then I don't know what the hell you're waking up for. Ooh, snap.
Mm. And it stuck out sitting up there. I'm thinking, anybody who like you, the Bryans, what is, if you could say, one of the one main differentiators that separates the elites from most, and goes back to that, it's nothing external. Everybody's had the ups and the downs. It has to be the internal side that only allows you to stick on, like how you've done so many episodes in a row.
When you know that you know that you know. Listen, when Brian had the idea, there was no school. Right? When he said, I'm going to go build a school in Guatemala, there was no school. Right?
Yeah.
You want to go build a school. There's no school. You are exactly where Brian was. What's the difference? There's no difference. None, zero, none, zero. Zero different. You have a dream. He had a dream. There, you are exactly the same. The difference is the belief it takes to live the dream. That's it. That's it. You can go sponsor 10 kids this year. That could be the start of the, before I built the school, I sponsored kids. Go send $100 to, go send $1,000 and 10 kids will have their uniform and their food and all of their supplies and everything else for a year. You've just put 10 kids into school. So you've started the Dillon school. It's their exchange students. You're going to somebody else's school right now.
And Selena brought up, I love this. Yeah, this is great. Selena brought up a great point with identity. What is the two pieces, again, that the elites, how do they keep an identity for so long without it either getting stripped away or grabbing onto another one?
Well, you've made a decision. You made a decision about a legacy, not a lesson.
Mm.
Right? My goal, what's my goal? My mission is to leave a legacy of 600 generations. That's 2,400 years. You showing up today is an amazing little feather I get to put in my cap that's still possible. But if you didn't show up today, my legacy is still what I'm working on. You coming in, showing up, Bob showing up today, Zalika sending me a note, Selena showing up, is all confirmation to me. There's something going right. After 6 years, to have some people still show back up from time to time, to bring me their energy, to give me a reminder. Listen, God may have twisted your arm. You're getting on Sean's call because he needs a little pick me up. I don't care what you're doing. You're like, oh, shit, I don't even know how to get on the call. But you show up. And that's God. That's God reminding me to not stop. You have these connections. You have these people that when they show up, they are instantly back in flow. You are instantly in their flow. You've never left flow. That when you can have a conversation, there's not, hey, so what have you been doing? How's it going? What's that? No, we don't need any of that. We're on a small talk diet. So it's proof to me that I'm grateful and filled with gratitude for each and every one of you, because you remind me of how valuable connections are. Can you leave footprints in their heart that when they come back, doesn't matter whether it's a day or a year or 5 years, they feel welcomed. So thank you for reminding me to make sure that when your friends show back up, they're always welcome. To have an environment of never like, where the hell have you been? I've been struggling. No, nobody cares. Nobody cares until they care. And you show up, and today is an amazing day. So I'm blessed.
Wow. Thank you. What a masterclass and a full moon for all of us to be together.
Oh, there you go. I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Great for you. Thank you for leading the way and blazing the path. Years later, many more to come. 600 generations.
Love it. Thank you, Dylan. Thanks for being a huge torch in my life that lightens and brightens my day all the time. Thanks for sharing it.
Great for you, brother.
Yeah, and Selena, I got to talk to Selena a little bit yesterday, and it's just I'm sitting here like the Cheshire Cat with the biggest grin, and Bob Park shows up, and he's always got his wisdom to share. It's just, yeah. And Zalika was trying to get on. And Diane is here. Diane's been like, I don't know. Diane must still have penance to do because she hasn't missed. She's here every single day. It's just the best. So I love it all. Y'all are amazing. Anything else I can do to be of value or service to you today before I let you send your joy into the world? Okay. I love you tons. I appreciate you. Thank you all for being here. Can't wait to see what tomorrow brings. But I know this. Don't miss out on today, hoping tomorrow's going to be amazing. It will be amazing if you make today amazing. I love you tons. I'm your head brain training, brain scrambling. Have some more fun in your misfit life. Misfit, I'll see y'all where?
At the next event.
At the next event. Somebody give me some Costa Ricas.
Pura
Pura vida. We love you, Mark. And some Lydias.
Peace be with us.
Peace be with us all. And the queen of helping you do what you didn't know you could do, Jessie Lee Ward. Bosley, we love you, girl. And a little white fluffy. Gurgly. We miss you, Fee. All right, everybody, go have some fun. We will see you all tomorrow. Love you tons. Bye for now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you all. Have